So the other day I was hanging out with a friend online. I was chatting with him about drive and ambition when I asked him what drives him, what makes him happy, what exactly it was that he wants in life. His answer was kind of underwhelming. He told me that all he really wanted was a good job and to be content, and that just didn't sit well with me. See, I have a lot of people in my life who are that way, living day by day, not thinking about the future. I'd ask them what they want to do. Why lock yourself in your house all the time? Why sit around and do so little? And the reply did ease me for a bit. Hey Barry, some people just don't care. They don't want to think about the future. They just want to sit down, enjoy a good movie or video game, pay the bills, and live life. And that was good enough for me. But as time went on and I thought about it more, I felt uneasy about the entire thing. I started thinking about it, and the final result made me feel like I'd gone insane. Everywhere I look, especially where I live, I see people who are content. Ambition seems to be lost on people, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make myself seem like a special flower. I don't think it's their fault. Prior to the late 1800s, education was private practice, done through homeschooling or private institution. It wasn't until 1902 when John D. Rockefeller created the General Education Board, resulting in the development of the American public education system. Now you may think, great, free schooling for more people, and that's exactly what was advertised. But the behind the scenes here is a bit more sinister. See, I never realized it, but I always had a problem with public school. Just a bunch of standardized tests that are specifically designed to teach not only the smartest person in class, but also the dumbest. And of course it has to work that way, but it wasn't until I graduated high school and lived on for a few more years that I realized just how little I retained. None of my jobs ever required math or biology. I have a simple yet useless grasp on health and history. I know a few Spanish words I could poop out at any given time, but what school really taught me was how to be around people. Other than that, I honestly didn't gain much of anything useful. Not to mention, after you graduate, the government's got some bills prepped just for you. If you don't go to college, then getting a job is difficult, and even then it only pays you enough to barely be okay. Even if you do attend college, there's a pretty good chance, depending on your major, you could just end up in retail or fast food. Oh, Barry, you're just fear-mongering. The only reason these graduates end up that way is because they picked a worthless major, and that's a fair point. But then again, who was it who helped out with that? Shouldn't high school be preparing you for this? And don't get me wrong, some of them actually do. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't. And with questions like this in your head, you end up asking yourself, why do I know so much about math and Spanish, but nothing about how to fix my car, do my taxes, balance a checkbook, pay my bills? This is the stuff that would have been extremely useful back in high school, not a sheet of random geometry equations. And this is where things start to get a little crazy. See, as you age, you start to realize what it means to be an individual. You realize how your mind works, and you discover what it takes to make you grow, and then you realize that school wasn't trying to help you with that at all. Our society's led to believe that happiness is attained by working hard and making money, but none of this helps you grow and develop as a person. The same way grades and marks don't signify any level of intelligence. It was Albert Einstein who said, never confuse education with intelligence. And not that I have to even say it, but the man was right. But let's get back to Rockefeller for a second, as he has a quote that I'm sure you'll like as well. A lot of people see Rockefeller as a hero. He provided over $100 million to fund education, and he had such good intentions, what's not to love? Except when he was asked what kind of system to put into place for the people, this is what he had to say. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Well, Barry, come on, man. He wasn't saying that he wanted a nation of dumb people. He just wanted hardworking citizens who don't think and just do what they're told. Okay, I'm being a little biased here, but when you combine this quote with everything else, especially in a capitalist nation where practically every company is greedy, it starts to eat at you a bit. This, coupled with a quote from Frederick T. Gates, who was a friend and business partner of Rockefeller, says, "In our dream we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand. The present educational conventions fade from our minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon grateful and responsive rural folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers, or men of learning or of science. We're not to raise up among them authors, orators, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor will we cherish even the humbler ambition to raise up from among them lawyers, doctors, preachers, statesmen, of whom we now have ample supply." The whole thing just rubs me the wrong way, and I can't help but think that if I were in the same position, this kind of institution makes sense. Why would I want competition? Intelligent people who make me transparent, who don't work in my factories and have the skills and resources to better themselves instead. Now look, I do need to say that before I get carried away, I'm not one of those guys who's mad at the establishment or screams night and day about the elite or whatever, but I do know that this kind of greed exists all around the world. It wouldn't surprise me to find out that the education I received was nothing more than a way to keep me simple, and I'm so thankful that I am ambitious. But the problem I face is trying to show others how fulfilling it is only to be looked at like I'm crazy or special. We all deserve to be happy. We have one life to do so as far as we truly know, so don't waste it being someone else's factory worker. If you want to travel, then damn it, do so. If you hate people and want to live out in the woods, don't let anything hold you back. The most important thing you can do is know yourself and make you as happy as you can, because no matter how educated you are, knowledge isn't memories. Going out and making the most of your life, learning who you are, your strengths and weaknesses, and what makes you who you are is what you'll use most in your life. Be curious, teach yourself things. Find the thing that interests you the most and stop at nothing to make that your goal. Even if the whole point of this education system was to breed cattle for the pockets of others, it does not have to define us. And most importantly, stay in school.